Well, living in southeastern North Carolina, many of you may have already tried to surf, a sport. It's all about balance and some coordination, but imagine trying to teach someone how to do that if they were blind or deaf. Well, Carolina in the Morning, Stacey Pinto joining us live now from Wrightsville Beach, where a surf camp designed specifically for children with those impairments are going to try to get out in the water. Good morning to you once again, Stacey.
Good morning, guys. Well, that's a great question. How do you teach these kids that are visually and have hearing impairments? Well, we're actually going to show you. We got a t-shirt here we're going to tie on me to blindfold me so we can give some demonstrations. But before we do that, we're here with the founder of IndoJack Surf School here. So you've been putting this on for the past 8 years. And it's a 5-day long summer camp, surf camp in the summer. So talk to me. First day, show up. Pretend I'm a blind child. Step one, what do we do?
Well, the first thing we do, we have 5 days, so we're not going to rush into surfing. We want to make sure that the kids and the parents are comfortable. So the first thing we do is walk the child down to the shoreline, and we spend as much time down here as we need, getting used to the waves, the wind, the sand, the water. For some, it's going to be a few minutes. For some, it's going to be an hour or two. For some, it might take a few days before they're ready to get to surfing. So that's the very first step, is just getting them comfortable with the ocean environment.
Okay, so we're going to bring it back here. I've been out there, I've touched the water, I feel how the waves are, I'm feeling comfortable, so now we're going to blindfold me. So we're going to walk through what happens after the kids feel comfortable being out touching the waters. Okay, completely blinded.
Instructors are going to take the students hand in hand or lock elbows, and I'm going to just walk you to the surfboard. So we're going to back up here. We're going to go to this pink surfboard right here, and we're going to kneel down. You can kneel down with me and put your hand out. You're going to feel the deck of the surfboard.
Okay.
And if you move your hands up here, and I'm going to let go of this hand, I'm going to put it, there's 2 handles here. So when you first go out in the water, you can lay down on the surfboard and hold these handles. You'll feel nice and safe. We'll get you through the breakers with very little splash. Pretty safely. If you move your hands off of the handles and move to the front of the board, you're going to feel the nose of the board. This is the front. So if you wipe out or you fall off the board, you're going to feel for this. That's the front, and you're going to lay on the board facing that way.
Okay.
Now if we move our hands back along the deck, all the way back to the very tail of the board, as far back as you go, you're going to feel what we call a leash or a rope. That's going to be attached to your back leg. And then this is the tail of the board. Now the tail, what's important about knowing that this is the tail, are that if the board is upside down, you're going to feel these fins back here, and you don't want to have those fins exposed. So if the board is upside down, you're going to flip it over this way first, and then you would climb back on, and there will be instructors at every step of this way to help you get the board turned over, help you get back on it.
And like we were saying too, this is specific instructions that you do for kids who can't see. And I know we talked a little bit off camera about what you do when there's kids who can't hear. It's kind of like you set that system on the beach, you make sure they know the taps, they know the different hand signals. So it definitely varies, kind of a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, every outreach surf camp we do has its own things that we have to consider. And so we've developed programs that are specific to each. And with the hearing impaired kids, usually when we're pushing them into a wave, we're behind them, so they can't read our lips, they can't hear us, and so we have a series of hand signals and taps so that they know that. So every camp has its own things that we have to worry about, things that we have to concern ourselves with to keep it safe and fun for the kids that are participating.
That's awesome. And if you have a child who has a hearing or visually impairment, you can head to our website, foxwilmington.com, and we'll have more details how you can register them and get them set up for the surf camp. It's 5 days long starting next week, and there's going to be another one at the last week of July too. So definitely a lot of opportunities. A lot of kids are invited. You can still even sign up for the one that's coming up on Monday too. So just head to our website, foxwilmington.com, for all those details and more. Guys, back to you.
You need balance, coordination, which are pretty key to success. But imagine taking on the waves if you couldn't see or hear them. Well, one local surf camp happening next week is doing just that. Carolina in the Morning, Stacey Pinto has been live in Wrightsville Beach all morning long talking about that surf camp. And Stacey, okay, we know that the special needs of the individuals are out there, so what special equipment will be used?
Good morning, guys. Well, the equipment actually looks very similar to what you would see in a regular surf camp. And before we get to that, I just want to say I heard both you and Bob Townsend talk on our sister station, WECT, that you've both been surfing. So I definitely want to see that. Bob, might be a good time to whip out that GoPro. But let's go ahead and shift gears back here. We're going to be joined right now with the founder of the surf camp. So talk to me. All morning long we've been talking about how this camp is special for those kids who have hearing and sight disabilities, but actually in talking to you, you're inviting more than just those types of disability, kids with those kind of disabilities out.
Yeah, well, with our visually impaired camp, we often get children that have other issues like cerebral palsy, and so we have to really be ready for anything with our equipment and our instructional setup.
And I see we have 3 different boards out here, so talk to me how these different boards you use for kind of the different skill level or maybe the different kind of disability that the child has.
You know, this is a typical surfboard. It's thinner, it's a certain length. This one we use for our visually impaired surf camp for some of the kids. A lot of the kids can use a typical surfboard, but it has handles, it's a little bit longer, it's definitely thicker, it gives a little more stability, and it's a little bit easier to ride if you have a mobility issue of some sort.
And this one I noticed too, this one definitely has the longer fin on the end versus these are a lot smaller. So talk about how some of the kids can even just ride up on shore with these smaller boards.
Yeah, with these ones with the shallow fins, they can stay in close if they're still nervous around the ocean, and they can ride right up onto the sand. This board has been specially developed and designed to ride with extra weight, extra kids on the front. It's got the handles, and it's made for being out further and riding regular waves out in deeper water. It's built with special rocker. It's really thick. It's really long. So this is good for a whole slew of kids that we may see in our visually impaired surf camp.
That's right. And you know, we've also kind of talked about too how, you know, your camp, this is great because a lot of times when you have brothers and sisters, they can't do all the same activities together, but talk about how your camp incorporates not just that special kid, but you know, everybody in the family.
Well, yeah, what we do is allow siblings to participate side by side, which is a really neat concept for these families because they don't often get to do things together. And oftentimes it's the family members that really need to see the visually impaired or the hearing impaired child doing something that everyone else does. I think it allows the limiting beliefs to be shed by the family members as well as the child that's participating.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to have more on this story coming up on Fox Wilmington starting at 7:30, as well as where you can go if you want to register for this, and we're even going to give you a little treat. I'm going to be blind, and Jack's going to work me through how he would just demonstrate this for some of those kids that are coming to this camp next week. Guys, back to you.
All right.